In this video, I'm going to create a composition and talk you through what I'm doing as I'm doing it. This is the given opening we're going to work with. It's adapted from a trio sonata by Corelli and it's written for violin. Let's just have a quick look at my plan for this piece. So as you can see, I've planned out 16 bars in total. I'll use ABA form with 2 4-bar phrases followed by an 8-bar phrase, and I'll put section B into a different key. First, notice that it's adagio and the key is E minor, as you can tell from the opening on the tonic and dominant notes in E minor. Next, let's see what sort of stuff the melody is made of. There's a fifth, steps, thirds, some dotted notes and an accidental to investigate. It seems quite gentle and sad. For articulation, we've got a lot of legato and some gentle mezzo staccato. Let's take a closer look at the accidental. G sharp and E fit with chord 5-7 in the key of A, and A is indeed the next note. So it looks like it's passing through the key of A. Whether that's A major or A minor, we can't say for sure. So where is it going in terms of key? We'll take a closer look at that in a moment. To get started, it's always a good plan to see if a sequence will work. In this case, there's a dotted A, which might work as a sequence built off the dotted B. So let's try that. So should I use a G sharp here too, or a G natural? The sequence might give us a clue. In bar 1, the harmony moves from the dominant B to tonic E minor, which is a fall of a fifth. So, if we map that out in bar 3, the A should fall by a fifth to D major, with F sharp as the next note and a continuation of the sequence. Since we've moved to D major, the G natural would be a better fit. If you look at the way the keys are moving, E, A, D, so far we've gone up a fourth, then down a fifth. To continue this pattern, the next logical key would be G major, which is the relative minor of the home key. I think an imperfect cadence in G would be a good way to end this phrase. Then the middle section can be based in G major to begin with. I can keep the sequence going as far as the D, but I don't have the option to change anything chromatically, like the G to G sharp here, as we're moving through 2 major keys, so we only have F sharp to work with. I could repeat the D, but that would be a bit boring. I could stick it up an octave higher to make it a bit more interesting, though. Or I could even use a C to indicate that we're moving to G major, because C is in the dominant 7th chord in G, and it's unique to G major, by which I mean it's not in D major, the last key we passed through. We're now in the middle section, which I'll try to make slightly contrasted to what's gone on before. I think changing the rhythm here would be nice, perhaps using more quavers, 8th notes, to create a little bit of contrast. I'll also keep the key more stable. The first part changed key with each bar, so I'll keep this section within 1 key. But I need consistency too, so I'll aim to keep some things very similar. I'll aim to carry on having the harmony change once per bar, and I can continue the melody in a similar way by alternating moving by step in 1 bar and by arpeggio movement in the next. Since the first 4 bars used diatonic sequences, I'll use one here too. I'll end this phrase with an imperfect cadence in G major, so ending on a D major chord with a melody note A. I'll use a longer note here too to highlight that it's a structural moment. For the last section, we need to find our way home. I need to make this section clearly related to section A, so back to the same rhythms and frequent key changes and sequences, of course. And I'll also try to combine a few of the ideas from section B to make the ending a bit more conclusive, tying up loose ends. I'll start with the opening sequence on G leading to C major and continue an octave higher to give it a bit more oomph. I want to be getting towards a chord of B7, so I'm going to engineer the sequence so that I end on F sharp falling to D sharp in bar 12. Working backwards, this means the sequence is going to start on A in bar 11. I'll finish bar 12 with a B to help consolidate the chord of B major. The dominant will be best followed by the tonic E minor, but I can keep up the quick key changes and use F natural to take us through A minor. Bar 15 wants to be a dominant chord so that I can end on a perfect cadence. So I'll change the B at the end of bar 14 to an A to avoid repeating the same note. In bar 15, I can simply write an upward scale using the melodic minor to iron out the augmented second. However, I think actually I'd rather keep the same rhythm as I've got all over the place, with 2 quavers, 2 eighth notes at the end. I can fix that by adding an F sharp before the final E. I think it's pretty much finished now, but one concern I do have is that the rhythms are quite repetitive because I used a lot of sequences. So I'll add a couple of passing notes in bars 10 and 12 to break up the monotony a bit. Now to add some performance directions. I'll copy over the articulation first. Wherever there's a sequence, the same kind of articulation will be good. For the middle section, I need to choose something appropriate and, again, be consistent with it. Finally, dynamics. I'll add some directions to the beginnings and ends of each phrase. Let's have a listen to the finished product.